All right, this is Stan Smith from Pushing Social, and we're going to get started with the quick webinar I wanted to put together because I had a lot of people approaching me asking me about my newest ebook called How to Get Your Next 10,000 Blog Readers. And this is really just an update of my prior book, and I went in and I've added a lot more content, a lot more up-to-date strategies, and I've also taken the whole notion of an ebook to the next level. So this book actually has video, and it also has something I call recipes. And some folks just wanted me to take them through what we have to offer in the book, as well as to kind of give you a sneak preview of some of the things that I'll be talking about. So I'm really excited about this book, and I'm really excited about going through this webinar with everyone tonight. So let's just jump right in. So I'm Stan Smith, like I just said, and I'm the founder of Pushing Social, and I'm also the author of Born to Blog, which I wrote with my good friend Mark Schaefer. And that book was really the first indication that Pushing Social was achieving its goals. Actually, I was able to write that book and actually able to get the book deal with Mark because of the audience that was created by Pushing Social. You can find me on pushingsocial.com, also on Twitter at Pushing Social. So one of the things I wanted to tell you is that because of the book, Social Media Examiner awarded Pushing Social its top honor, the top 10 social media blog honor for 2012 as well as 2013. And I say this to you not to brag, but I'm just telling you this because I want you to understand that a lot of the methods I'm going to be talking to you about tonight has been used by me successfully to grow Pushing Social from 0 to over 10,000 readers a month, and it actually gets closer to 20,000 readers a month. And I really wanted to show you how I was able to do that and the tactics that I was able to use to get that. So I wanted to show you those awards to let you know that the book deal, the 10,000 person a month or reader a month blog, the awards all come from using sound blog marketing strategies that we're going to touch on tonight and that I talk about in depth in the how to get your first 10,000 blog reader book video, as well as tactics that I've included in the ebook as well. So let's keep going. So the very first thing is that I came across this quote. It was by Michael Burt, and I really think that it nailed what your challenge is as a blogger. And he says, the biggest challenge to any small business owner, entrepreneur, salesperson, or inventor is obscurity. Okay? And it's not that you don't have something incredibly valuable. It's just that nobody knows who you are. And when you get started, that is exactly your problem. You may have some incredible things to share. You have an incredible story, an amazing product. But unless people know who you are, and then it's a non-starter. And it's not even just that a few people know who you are. In today's age, just having 1,000 people know who you are is not good enough. Now you need 10,000, 100,000, or 1,000,000 people to know who you are so you can break through that level of obscurity and get to the point where enough people know who you are and what your story is, and they can start to help you, and you can start building that momentum. And that was exactly the spot that I was in with Pushing Social. And what you're looking at is my Google Analytics chart for 2011. I put this together for my Google Analytics reports, and you can see that I had a decent January. I was up to 8,000, but February, March, April, May, it started to bottom out. I really was not getting any traffic at all. And it wasn't seasonal. It was just something was going wrong during this time. And I remember kind of beating my head up against the wall and saying, what am I doing wrong? And during this period, I was doing all of the tactics and the strategies that the most popular bloggers were talking about. So I was guest posting, I was, engaging people on Twitter, I was going out there and trying to leave good comments on other people's blogs. I was doing anything and everything I could to get Pushing Social above that level where people just didn't know about it, but I was not having any success. Okay, so what I decided to do was throw all those tactics out the window. All those strategies, I just said forget about them because they weren't helping. And I decided to go about marketing Pushing Social in a way that I kind of felt was right in my gut, but I wasn't entirely sure. And my idea was is that I wanted to use some of the tactics that I've seen others outside of the blogging space use. People like J.K. Rowling, who was the author of Harry Potter. I looked at Gary Vaynerchuk and what he had done with YTV, which was not a text blog, it was a video blog, which a lot of people in my space wasn't doing at that point. I looked at, Huffington Post and Gizmodo and Engadget, and looked at some of those bigger blogs and really started to analyze their techniques. And I started to put together a list of strategies that were not necessarily the ones advocated by the experts in the blogging category, but were obviously working for everybody else. So I started to put those into action, and you see the result. In December, my visitors shot up. I mean, like it was like the popularity of Pushing Social got shot out of a cannon, and we went from November having just above 4,000 visitors to over 11,000 visitors in December. Okay, and usually December is a really bad month for bloggers because a lot of people are interested in everything else but your topic, unless you're Amazon, right? So everybody is shopping for holiday gifts and they're not focusing on blogs. So usually I buckle up for a really bad December, but these tactics caught fire. And I was literally shocked. And I say on my website that I remember going to my wife and saying, I think it worked. And she went, what is it? I'm like, all these crazy ideas I had that I put into action on the last day of November was catching hold in December. So I really want to share that with you. I want to share those strategies with you. And those strategies all focus on one critical thing, and that is beating obscurity. Okay, so if you use these tactics, you will get to a point where you can beat obscurity. You can finally push your blog above that level where now not just 10 people are talking about it, but hundreds of people are talking about your blog. People are referring to you and linking to you and mentioning you and conversations in your subject. This is the level where your blog starts to take on a life of its own, and kind of like that flywheel that Jim Collins talks about in his book Good to Great, where it's hard to get the flywheel going, but once it gets going faster and faster, and it gets easier to move until it takes on a momentum of its own. And that's what I talk about when it comes to beating obscurity. So let me do a quick check here just to see if we have any folks who are on and need to ask any questions. Just want to make sure everyone's okay, so I'm going to pop out of here really quickly. Looks like I got a couple of folks in the room, and that's great. Glad you're here. If you have any questions, go ahead and find the chat window and place your questions or type your questions into the chat area. I'm glad to have you here. So let's jump back in. So we're going to talk about beating obscurity, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through some of the key tactics within how to get your next 10,000 blog readers. And as you can expect, I can't really go into a lot of depth about how, because after all, this is almost an 80-page book plus videos plus a lot of things that a lot of other supplementary material that I have for everyone who buys this book. But I definitely want to tell you what I will be talking about so you can judge for yourself if these are tactics that you believe you can use for your blog. I believe you can. I believe they'll be very successful for you. But I think you want to do your due diligence and see for yourself. So the first tactic I want to talk about is plug the leak. Okay, and plugging the leak really comes down to this. Every day your blog is going to get new readers, okay? And they'll come to your blog and they will read your blog post and then they will leave, okay? And a lot of those visitors don't come back. And the interesting thing about that is that most bloggers are so focused on getting new readers that they're not spending enough time retaining the readers that they currently have. And if they retained the readers that they currently have, then they would start each day off with a higher level of readership. Okay, every time they publish a post, they're not starting from 0, but they're starting from 50 people who are coming back on a regular basis to see what they have to offer. Or they'll come back with 100 people. In the case of Pushing Social, every day, if we post or not, we have about 500 people who come to the blog just to see if there's anything there. Okay, so that repeat readership gets us to a level of traffic, readership, that we can just sustain and keep growing, and it makes it a lot easier to get to that point where you can have those 10,000 readers a month, because you're not getting all 10,000 of them as new, but a good 30 or 40% of them are coming back. So in the book, I talk about a strategy for making sure that your readers come back. Okay, so I say this strategy is all about making it easy and necessary for your readers to come back to your blog. You want them to feel like they're going to miss out on something important if they don't come back and see what else you're publishing. Okay, the tactics around that is, and they talk about a few of them, is one is refine your opt-in form so you can get people to sign up to get your blog updates in their inbox. A lot of people think that this is very simple and straightforward, but there's actually a couple of things that you need to do specifically to make sure that people not only sign up, but they pay attention when your email blog update hits their inbox. You want to eliminate stop words. There are certain words that people use all the time when it comes to getting people to sign up for blog updates that literally stops their readers in their tracks. It prevents people from wanting to sign up, and it really hurts their ability to get repeat readers. And I talk about those stop words, and I make sure that you don't make those mistakes. And then you want a system that automatically promotes your new posts. Okay, you don't want to be in a position where you're spending a lot of manual time and work trying to get your post promoted. You don't want to be in that position. You want your blog to operate like a system, like a well-oiled machine, to automatically take your posts and start promoting them and putting them in the best spot possible, so you can focus on writing the amazing content that's going to get you noticed. This works because your blog post update emails will always get open, and a good percentage of the links that you place in those emails will get clicked. And the tactics that I talk about will help you make the most of every single interaction that you have with your current readers, so you can start each day off with a jump start, a head start on getting new readers to your blog rather than starting from 0. So that's a really important chapter within the ebook, and I really would love for you to be able to see the tactics there, use my step-by-step guide to work your way through the tactics so you can put those into action and you can plug that leaky bucket that is your blog right now. So let's talk about tactic number 2, which I call content flood. Okay, and the content flood is about making sure that not only are you creating content, and you know that you have to create blog posts and you have to create special reports and ebooks and infographics and all the great stuff that makes a good blog go, all the things that make a good content marketing plan go, but there is a way to make sure that you can get a steady supply of content that is diverse, that is interesting, and is already ready to be promoted. The strategy I want to talk to you about in that area is getting other people to create content and promote your blog for you. And the best way to do this is by starting your own guest blogger program. Now, that is easier said than done. Now, I know people who have started their own guest blogger program and they absolutely did not like it because they're spending hours chasing down people who said that they were going to write and then they didn't make a deadline, or correcting and editing blog posts that were of poor quality, or trying to, after they've gone out and published someone else's post, that blogger didn't promote their own post. I mean, like, there's all these things that could not go, that did not go well, and it was really because they didn't set up their guest blogger program in the right way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up your own guest blogger program and have it run pretty much on autopilot. All you have to do is go in and review and click approved on posts that are ready and meet your editorial standards. So there is an art and a science to doing that, and I'm going to show you some of the things that you should be aware of. Also, the reason why this strategy works of getting your own guest blogger program is that great writers these days aren't getting the opportunity to write for large blogs. You literally have a lot of people out there who can write a great blog post. They can put together good content, but the bigger places already have their stable of writers, and you actually are in a situation where you have some very good writers who are hungry to write for you and write in your subject, and they just don't have that opportunity. So if you have a well-run guest blogger program, then you can start bringing in, you can start creating content, publishing content on a regular basis, and then have those guest bloggers going out there and promoting that content for you. Okay, so there is no, you should take a look at Copyblogger, which is a top 10 blog. Copyblogger, I would say 4 out of the 5 days that they publish, it's from a guest blogger. You look at Social Media Examiner, their editorial schedule is filled with guest bloggers. So you can see a trend there, okay? And both of those spots have very high editorial standards for the guest bloggers they bring on board. So they're just not publishing junk, okay? But they've been able to use a guest blogger program to create a nice, diverse stable of content that is helping to attract new readers to their blog. So that's a key tactic. The next tactic is Geek Free SEO. Okay, and SEO means search engine optimization. Now, here's what I know. I know that most people hate search engine optimization. They believe that if they're going to start trying to get their blog to rank highly on Google, they believe that they either have to be a robot or they have to be a geek, okay? And I don't believe you have to be either. All right, there is a way to do search engine optimization in such a way that you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out computer code or trying to figure out all these black hat, gray hat, white hat methods. You don't have to do any of that. And also, you don't have to be a robot. You don't have to sit down and kind of write out blog posts that are based upon keywords, and you kind of following this rule book of you have to put 10 keywords in the first paragraph and 5 keywords in the second paragraph and all that nonsense. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about a very natural way of getting Google to pay attention to your blog. Okay, so this strategy is simple. You use small and consistent effort to rank high for moderately competitive terms. So my goal is to show you how to go after terms that maybe are not getting, tens of thousands of searches a month, but they're getting enough searches a month that is going to help you meet your traffic goals, okay? And they're moderately competitive, meaning that you have a very good shot of ranking well on some of these terms. And you get there by just doing the small fundamental things right, okay? So my tactics includes using images, something I call category pages, and a really focused editorial schedule to do what I call overwhelming a term. Over time, you just dominate a particular key phrase. This particular strategy has allowed me to rank very highly for some seriously competitive terms over time. Okay, so when I first went after them, they were moderately competitive, and now they're very competitive, but because I've overwhelmed that term with very good content and category pages and paying attention to the little things, now I'm able to hold my own on some very competitive terms, okay? And it works because really traditional search engine optimization as it stands today doesn't work. Okay. Now I know that there's people out there that says, well, you know what? I don't know how you define traditional SEO, and yes, it does work in certain circumstances. But here's the thing: Google has gotten very good at finding people or finding out people, uncovering people who have or who are trying to trick. Okay, its algorithm. Google is in the business of making sure that they deliver the best content possible to their users. And they've, like I said, they've gotten really good at sniffing out people who are artificially creating an advantage for themselves. Okay, so that type of SEO just doesn't work. But what does work and what Google does reward is people who go out there, take a look at their topic, see what their readers want, and deliver that on a consistent basis. And all that reader has to do, all that blogger has to do, all they have to do is go out there and make sure they indicate to Google what to look at and what subjects that blog is focusing on. And if you do this in a smart way, you will find that your SEO will take care of itself. And I talk about this at great length in the book. So you definitely want to, as soon as you purchase the book, you want to kind of boogie your way on over to that particular chapter, because that is really going to give you some good nuggets, some good actions that you can start with very quickly. This next tactic is something that I am very excited about, and I call it the Twitter storm. Okay, so the Twitter storm is basically saying this: Twitter is underutilized, in my opinion, as a social media channel. And I think that might be shocking to some people, because they say, are you kidding me? Twitter seems like it's oversaturated, but it's not. Twitter has really revised and refined how it's going out and getting new people to use Twitter, and making sure that people who are currently using Twitter, making sure they get the most out of it. Twitter is, I think, in many ways, surging yet again. And Twitter has always been a top 10 traffic producer for many blogs that I've worked with, especially pushing social. So if you know how to use Twitter, and you know how to kind of pull the levers on Twitter to get the most advantage out of it, then you are going to be in a position to constantly or consistently grow your blog's traffic. Okay, so my strategy with Twitter is all about quickly scaling your content curation to stay top of mind with your readers. Okay, so how Twitter works is that, or I should say it this way, how people use Twitter is that they keep it open. Okay, and Twitter all day is kind of throwing notifications out. Okay, so I like to say that Twitter is the cable channel for most people, the ticker at the bottom of their screen that is giving them the latest news. What you want to do is you want to make sure that your news, your content that you're curating is constantly popping up in that activity stream throughout the day. So people start to associate the best content with you. You don't have to write this content. All you have to do is point people to it, and you get credit. So my tactics is about making that whole process of finding great content and making sure it finds its way into your activity feed in a way that is useful to your followers. I would show you how to go about that process and semi-automate it, so you don't have to kind of spend hours a day on Twitter, and you can spend 10 minutes a day and get a day's worth of content. Also, I want to semi-automate the catching the attention of influencers, so you can get in front of them, give them your content, and they will go back out there and promote you, join or follow you, and keep track of your activity feed. So I have two great tactics to help you along with that. And one of the things that you need to understand about my tactics is that they work because they take advantage of two important variables for Twitter success. And one is the number of tweets that you put out per day, and the number of followers, new followers that you have. You want to always be on people's radar screen by putting out great tweets. So it's you can't get a lot of traction on the Twitter strategy where you're only tweeting out 1 or 2 things a day. Because if you think about it, a person is probably going to scan, or at least their activity fee is probably going to feed them 500, 600 tweets a day. And if you're only tweeting once or twice a day, 4 or 5 times a week, you're getting lost. People are not paying attention to you, and they're not going to take action, okay? Because you're just not showing up. So that's why I believe tweets per day is an important variable for you to look at. A great way to start to increase your visibility is by paying attention to that. And then, of course, your number of new followers. Twitter is a numbers game. Okay, plain and simple. If you have 10 followers, you're not going to be as impactful as a person with 10,000 followers. I don't care what you do. Okay, so if you put those two variables together, then you have an incredible opportunity to use Twitter to build your blog traffic. The next thing is Pinterest power. Now, I am personally shocked that I pay as much attention to Pinterest as I do these days, all right? But I have fallen in love with Pinterest, not because I am a personal user of it. Quite frankly, I'm not fashionable, or I'm not a hipster. I don't know what should go on a Pinterest board. But every time I look at my traffic reports, I find that Pinterest is showing up every single month. And most months it's increasing the amount of visitors it sends to me. And I am just shocked because I don't spend any time there. But people are finding my images, liking those images, and coming back to Pushing Social. And lo and behold, some of them are even signing up for product, signing up for my email list, and I love it. So once I started seeing this, I was like, wait a second, how can I take advantage of Pinterest and use that to increase my traffic? And this is something that's recent, because Pinterest has really only caught hold or caught speed here in the last 2 years. But Pinterest power is about a strategy that turns every image on your blog into a salesperson for you on Pinterest, turns every image into an evangelist on Pinterest. And this tactic really goes about automating your Pinterest marketing with smart WordPress plugins. So you're not spending a lot of time doing this on your own. You take 10 minutes in the beginning to make sure that your images are crafted in such a way that they can go out and do the marketing for you. Okay, and this is working because Pinterest is really becoming the de facto image search engine for a lot of the most engaged, influential, and active readers, okay, out there. So a lot of people are going to Pinterest just to hang out and look at photos and comment on photos. And I think that that's going to make Pinterest a force to be reckoned with in the future. So piggybacking on this platform gets your blog in front of this engaged and active audience, all right? So I really like opportunities to piggyback on the success of another platform and grow your audience at the same time. You saw me do it with Twitter. You see me do it with Google. Now you're seeing me do it with Pinterest. Okay, so I think that is super important for you, and you're really going to enjoy some of the tactics I talk about in this ebook that take advantage of Pinterest. Now let's stick with that theme of piggybacking on a popular platform. Okay, this next one is YouTube Dominator, tactic number 4. And what YouTube Dominator is all about is that it takes advantage of YouTube's secondary role as the world's top question and answer site. Think about it. Whenever I want to know how to do something, when I want to learn how to do something, I usually go to Twitter and ask my question. Why? It's because I'm going to get a video that's going to show me how to do it versus telling me how to do it, which I don't know about you, but it's a lot easier to watch someone do something rather than trying to figure it out on my own. Here's an example. My toilet, it was running, okay, and I needed to make sure that I replaced a flap and a doodad, and I'm not a handy guy, okay? If that toilet had a mouse attached to it, okay, on a computer monitor, I could figure it out in a heartbeat. But just generally going in there and kind of doing that handyman stuff, I am not great at. But I knew what the problem was, so I just I went to YouTube and typed in how to stop toilet from running. Okay, and it immediately gave me 10 or 15 videos that were spot on, walked me through the steps to replacing the doodad inside of the toilet bowl, and I was able to figure it out. That simple example is what happens billions of times actually a day on YouTube. So if you can take advantage of YouTube's power and brand and trust that is engendered with its audience as a resource, then you are in a position to win. The tactic that I like to use is attracting new readers by being their #1 YouTube resource. Okay, YouTube. When I say their #1 YouTube resource, I mean their #1 question and answer resource on YouTube. So if they have a question about your subject, you need to be on YouTube answering that. And you can do that effectively with a tactic that is called 10-10 by 2. And I explain this a lot more within my ebook. And the reason why it works is that because people are constantly on the hunt for tutorials and are constantly on the hunt for answers to all the questions that comes up every day. So is Google. Google is trying to match people who are looking for answers up with answers. Okay, and it uses Google, the search engine, as a resource, and its YouTube channel as a resource. So you'll get more readers if you can satisfy both Google and the reader. So that's why YouTube Dominator works. So that was just a few of the top line strategies that I deal with that you're going to get in the first 20 pages of how to get your next 10,000 blog readers ebook. And not only that, but you're going to get another 20 more pages full of tactics that I call classics that were in my first book that I've gone through, updated them, refined them for 2014. So you're going to have that. But I didn't stop there. I went ahead and added tutorial videos because you're going to be reading the book and you're going to say, well, I don't know how to do that, or how do I set up my email campaign in that way, or how do I set up a category page? You're going to have those questions, and what I've done is I've gone in and anticipated a lot of those questions and created videos for you that will allow you to look over my shoulder and see me actually set up a lot of these tactics. Okay, and that's really going to make it a lot easier for you to implement what you learn. So some of the videos that I have available right now is a really great way of preparing your Facebook promotion of your blog post that will get you more likes and get more people sharing it. Adding an after post opt-in widget, which is a great way of getting people to sign up for your blog update list, and on, how to create these category pages, how to set up Twitter machine that takes advantage of that Twitter storm tactic I talked to you about. And I'm on track to putting more tutorials on every month. I will be adding new tutorials, 2 more tutorials every month for the rest of the year. Probably much more than that because I usually try to add a tutorial every week. So that is the videos. And like I said, these are videos just like the ones you're watching right now that you can put up on your computer and you can follow along, and will take you from having nothing to having a great tactic working within a few minutes, which I think is a great thing. The next thing I have is something I call recipes, and these recipes are really just short tutorials teaching the latest blog marketing tactics. So the situation is that frankly, I come across really good tactics almost every day, and I'm constantly testing new tactics. And whenever they work, I write them up as a recipe and I put them in the membership area, and you can get access to those just by logging in. It's very simple. And I send out an email, say there's a new recipe available, and you can go in there and take advantage of those recipes. And like I said, I think those are the funnest part of the membership, because you can get those really cutting edge tactics that everyone hasn't jumped on yet, and you can get the benefit of those. And that is the main reason why this is such a different ebook. Okay, so it's really a living ebook. It's a living resource. And not only do you have the text, but you're you're getting the tutorial videos are giving you that how-to in a format that you can follow along, and the book stays updated because I'm constantly going in and my team is constantly going in and adding a new blog marketing tactic. We're on track to adding one new recipe every single week. So I think that's going to mean that the ebook that you buy today is much better than the ebook that someone bought 3 weeks ago, because there's more content that's being added to it. And if you get in today, that means you're going to get in at a really good price, and a year from now you're going to have an amazing resource. It's already pretty darn good, but it's just going to get better every single week, and that's what gets me excited about this ebook. So I want you to jump on board. I want you to get your copy of the ebook before Monday, because every Monday I increase the price of the ebook. Okay, so that means that the reason why I increase the price of the ebook by $10 every Monday is because, frankly, I added new information to it, and it's more valuable the next week than it was before. And I don't plan on ever stopping raising the price. As long as there's great value, I'm going to make sure I raise the price, because I want people to buy and understand that they're getting something that's valuable, and I want to reward the people who jump in early, okay, and are decisive and say, hey, listen, I want to make an investment in my learning, and I want to make sure I have access to this material. So if you haven't bought a copy of How to Get Your Next 10,000 Blog Readers, you want to go ahead and go over to pushingsocial.com/10K. All right, and let me switch back here, because I think I can help you out in doing that really quickly here. Let me see here. Let me put up a screen for you. First of all, let's go ahead and put this over here. And so you want to go to pushingsocial.com/10K. All right, and let me see if I can give you an easy way of getting over to there. Here we go. So all right, so you should have that coming up on your screen there. You should see that at the bottom of your sidebar there, okay? And you just can go in there and click into that area, or click your yellow button there, and be able to take advantage of that offer. If you don't see that, then you could just go to pushingsocial.com/10K, and you'll be set to go as well. Okay, so I really wanted to make sure that you guys get in on that offer. I really believe that it's something that you would get a lot of value from, and I'm really excited to be able to offer that to you. All right, so that's great. And if you have any questions, okay, feel free to go ahead and put them into your chat box right now. I'm going to be reviewing those questions, and actually, since every question that comes in, I have the email of everyone who's answered that. I'm going to be getting back to them via email, and I'm also going to have this particular video available, or the replay available, to up on Pushing Social, so other people who weren't able to attend tonight can be able to see it. And if you're here, you can go back over that video, listen to it again, and kind of get a do your due diligence on getting this ebook. So thank you for joining me for the webinar tonight, and I look forward to seeing you sign up for How to Get Your Next 10,000 Blog Readers, and I can't wait to continue to give you great tactics and great strategies to get your blog noticed and promoted. You have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.